Time now for our rants and raves of the week, and we're going to start with you, Dan.
Well, I have a very sad rave for Bill and Denise Richard, who wrote an absolutely extraordinary essay that appears on the front page of the Boston Globe today, calling for an end to the trial of the Boston Marathon bomber. I generally will name him, but since they didn't, I'm not going to name him either. And saying, let's, forget the death penalty, move on. It was beautifully written, eloquent. It's hard to read knowing what they suffered. Just want to read one line from this. Yeah. The minute the defendant fades from our newspapers and TV screens is the minute we begin the process of rebuilding our lives and our family. And it was just...
And I made the point too, it wasn't an anti-death penalty essay. It was just saying, we have found him guilty, send him to prison, let's end this, get him off our conscience.
You're right, because I do believe the Richards are opposed to the death penalty, but they rose above that. It was not a political statement in any way.
Yeah, it wasn't their point. Callie?
Well, I have a rant about MSNBC. It's not anything specific except they're just doing so horribly. And an example of this is that, this was that when Hillary Clinton announced that she was running, their ratings, 28,000 viewers only. That's compared to CNN 2006 viewers, Fox 200,006. Fox News had 115,000, HLN had 71,000. They had 28. This is their wheelhouse. If there's ever a wheelhouse, Hillary Clinton announcing should be it. And here's my thing. Stop with the bad talent, speaking of talent. Get some good talent in there. Let's do some different branding. I happen to like Melissa Harris Perry on the weekend. I think they do a better job on their weekends now. But during the week, they're killing everybody.
We don't even know who she is.
Well, yeah, I know who she is. and she's doing quite well.
She has some tax problems.
Right? I did, but that doesn't have anything to do with her performance on her show. But my point is that they could do better in terms of their talent, in terms of how they do this. This is ridiculous. Going into the 2016 presidential election, I'd like to see a variety of political analysis, good political analysis.
What time was the announcement? Sunday, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You're Sunday at 3. It doesn't matter. Yeah. This is, it's just an indicative of how badly they're doing.
I think they're kind of the inverse of Fox in that their brand, the way they've structured it, works best if there's a Republican in the White House and they have people fulminating about the alleged excesses of that Republican, whoever he or she is. Just like Fox works better when there is a Democrat who can be the root of all evils.
Adam, you're right, but the talent at MSNBC right now is just not good.
It's not good. The weekday, they got to do something. Yeah.
All right, Adam.
I want to rave for Drew McGarry, I believe I'm pronouncing this right, who wrote this great piece for GQ, taking issue with a piece that had been written for Bloomberg by Noah Feldman. I don't know if you've interviewed him, Emily, very sharp guy, Harvard Law School professor. But he wrote this really, I thought, aimless piece trying to draw connections between the Boston Marathon bombings and the trial of Aaron Hernandez and the dark questions that these two events raise about Boston and the way people in Boston think about sport and society. I've written pieces like this before myself where you're kind of flailing around trying to figure out what your point is. Sometimes you get there at the end and you bring it up into the lead, sometimes you don't. But what I just said is nothing compared to what Drew McGarry wrote, sort of systematically going through Noah Feldman's piece and just ripping it to shreds. It was so well done. Cruel, funny, really a good read. Everyone should check it out.
He would say things like, no, you're not going to say this. And then he would print what the guy just said.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, very funny stuff.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Excellent. All right, Tom.
Rant. This is because I have to admit it hit me where I live. There was a Fortune online, Fortune.com, printed a list of the 10 worst jobs in America right now. Number 1 on that list, newspaper reporter, of course, which I spent my life doing. Number 5 was TV broadcaster, and photojournalist was right in there. And of course they cite the statistics about how the business is struggling. But the 10 best jobs in America, number 1, now no offense to any of our viewers who are this, was actuarial. And then you had statistician, and then you had dental hygienist.
Come on.
Now, come on. What job is more fun? It'd be a newspaper reporter or an actuarial, where I guess where you have to figure out who's going to live longer and who isn't. And
well, wait a minute. Who was in the sample?
Yeah.
I really don't know the details,
lot of
but apparently a
actuarials.
lot of it, maybe a lot of actuarials and dental hygienists here. Certainly not a lot of newspaper reporters, unless they've just been laid off.
Dental
but
hygienists.
in any event.
You know,
I
we
like
are-
my dental hygienist.
God bless them,
we
but I don't
probably
wanna put
would
my
all say
hands
we
in
love
anybody's
our jobs. I think, you know, I certainly think we've got great jobs, but we also like to feel sorry for ourselves. There's a lot
That's
of
right. Woe is
moaning,
us,
whining.
yeah.
Yeah, we
We do
get
whine.
very into that. We've got great jobs,
Oh, I
and
always
we're
tell
very lucky to
people-
be doing it.
No, that-
think it's-
I'm always, you know, what greater job is there than being any kind of
fantastic.
a
But
reporter?
that's not
And
the
it's
po-
an important job. I
Actually,
don't want
that's
to let
not the
that go,
point. The
too.
point is that we have done continually a poor job of explaining to people how important the job is and what's going on. Yeah, we may enjoy doing it, but the reason we end up in those lists like that is because people are, you know, that's how they feel about media.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
we've just not done the job that we should do to say, here's what you wouldn't know if there was not active journalism going on.
All the garbage people like to read
Exactly.
about. Where do they think that came from?
Exactly. There you go. You know.
All right. Well, I have a rave for one of our old colleagues here, Charlie Pierce, who's a prolific and fantastic writer. He has just penned a piece for Grantland on about Boston 2024 that is just, talk about hilarious. It's, you got to read it if you haven't written it. It's basically saying, if you guys want to bring that the games here, you got to play in our jungle. You got to play on our terms. And it goes kind of back through history about how tough Bostons are, and we can scam them, and you know, bully people, and you know, use the bully. We got that all going on. And he said, you know, we should bring that all back up and push back. You know, he says, you know, the Olympics says nothing on James Michael Curley. It's actually very, very well done.
Charlie is
He
great.
He's a great writer.
Oh, he's got it. It really. I mean, it was just so funny and dead spot. They should bring him out to be the, you know, the
The
Oh, that would
ambassador.
be-
The ambassador.
Yeah.
The face of the
ambassador.
Olympics.
Yeah, there
She
you
could
go.
exactly write something. All right, well, that's our show. Tell us what you think. Email us, tweet us, or leave a comment. We're always on at beatthepress.org.